And
Sorry.
I got into chefing because I knew it was a way to travel. I saw the opportunity to be working in different places. So when I was on Daydream Island, I actually had a friend who was working on a super yacht on another island, and he was just telling me about it. And in my mind, the wheels started turning, and I was like, wow, that's another way for me to do chefing. It's another location. So straight away, my time on Daydream Island was coming to an end. I was, I dare say I was getting burnt out. I was ready for a change. The energy had kind of been drained out of me. There was no passion for being on that island anymore in that restaurant. So I looked back in the day, there were no crew agents. It was a newspaper. I looked in the newspaper for the local newspaper, and lo and behold, there was a job on a yacht. There was a job on a boat in the Whitsundays. I applied for it, and then it was mine. Within 2 weeks, I was on a boat, and that's just kind of like testament to making a decision and taking action, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Following through.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then you were on the yacht for how long since then?
In the Whitsundays, I was over there for about 5 years. So, and then kind of exactly how I got into yachts, someone mentioned what we call super yachting. So a bit more luxurious, more travel, more benefits, more money. You got to be in Europe, Caribbean, America. And I was like, wow, that sounds amazing. So I got a few extra certificates that you need when you go into that part of the industry, booked a ticket, went to Antibes, got my first super yacht job. And then I was in that side of the industry for it would be coming up to 9 years, including my freelance time.
Wow. Okay. So when did you start realizing that you were feeling like burnout, and how did it feel? Like what were the thoughts you were starting to have? What was your life starting to look like?
Yeah. So I was probably burnt out a long time before I realized I was burnt out, right? And maybe other people listening in or watching can relate. I would say it was about 7 years ago. 7 years ago now. So it was a while ago. I was still working on a yacht. It was full time. We were busy doing regattas, charters. So it was 18-hour days.
Yeah.
I had no time for myself. And I found myself becoming like really angry and frustrated.
Yeah.
Like those were definitely emotions that I would find coming up, if not daily, definitely on a weekly, every second day basis. Just feeling like stuck in the career that I'd chosen, because I thought, well, I'm a chef. That's all I'm ever meant to be. I've invested a lot of time, a lot of money in my career. Yeah. What else would I do? So I felt stuck, tired, definitely angry, because I guess that's what comes from frustration sometimes, right? That it stems off the anger emotion. And I just didn't know what I was going to do, because I craved the time with my family and friends. I'd traded a lot of time for money. I started to realize, second guess the career I'd chosen. But I also had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I was like, what would I do to get out of this? How do I change? Because yachting is very comfortable. And I guess it's the same as any job, right? You have the stable income.
Yeah.
With yachting. Yeah. And with yachting, it's also your home. You live on the yacht.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't going to live on a yacht anymore, where would I live? Like, how do you pay bills? Like, how do you set up a house? Like, it's,
wow.
So a lot of trapped emotions. I felt very trapped in the career, and I no longer had the passion for it. I was just doing it to get an income and to have some security, to have a house and stuff.
Wow. Okay. And then, like, walk us through, when did you decide that I can't do this anymore?
So, wow, that was actually about 3 years ago. No, sorry. That was 3 years after. So 5 years ago, I'd obviously given up a lot of time with my family. I'd said a lot of no's to attending weddings and family events. And then it was back in May, it must have been 2016, I lost my closest grandmother. And we were about to go on charter the next day.
Yeah.
Which means the boss is coming. There's very little room for error. I was in the Caribbean. My grandmother lived in New Zealand back then. So I couldn't, reflecting back, it was a choice, but I didn't feel I could choose to go to the funeral. Yeah. So I didn't get to say goodbye. As I said before, when you're in yachting, it's your home and your job. So if I was just to pack up and go, I would have left my job, my home, my income, my security. And back then that was very, very important to me. Yep. But also so was family and friends. So I was torn, but my family were okay with, they encouraged me not to come back. They said no. But it was a heart-wrenching decision, it's something I can never take back, not getting to say goodbye. Of course, I can do that in my own way. But I was like, okay, that something's got to give. Something has to change because I'm not making this decision again.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no again.
Yeah. It's interesting how like we tolerate things in our lives, and we tolerate and we tolerate and we tolerate until there's like you've had enough, and just this was like the last straw. It was like too much. And a lot of people experience things like that in their lives where they hit rock bottom. They really hit rock bottom, or they also experience like a dark night of the soul where everything is just like ripped apart, and they have to go through that whole thing. But yeah, I can totally resonate and feel how hard it must have been to not be there at the funeral with one of your most loved persons in your life. So what did you do? What did you decide? What happened after that?
So back then I had already been doing a little bit of network marketing. So I kind of dabbled in it. I made some money. It was health and wellness products back then. I'm not affiliated with it now, still use the products, and I was making a little bit of income, and I never really took it seriously because I'd never been exposed to that sort of thing before. I didn't understand it. I didn't see any value in it. I saw value in helping others achieve their health goals. I didn't see the value in turning that into a real business until my grandmother passed. And as you say, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say.
Yeah, yeah.
So I took a more serious approach to building the business, to really helping people with their health and wellness goals. And I also created my own product, which was a 3-day health and wellness challenge. So I had my own recipes. I had a lot of I'm into a lot of mindset work. So I had a lot of mindset work in there. And the follow-up from that program that I created was a 4-week private cooking course.
Wow. Amazing. And then how did that change your situation?
So, of course, this took time.
Yeah.
I gave myself a 2-year plan.
Okay.
Not that I'm, a 2-year goal.
Yes.
Because as I said before, when you make the decision, you take action, things happen. So I gave myself 2 years to build these businesses. I didn't end up doing the 4-week cooking program. I ended up just doing the 3-day because it did take a lot of work to create the 3-day program alone with my own personalized recipes, and testing. It started to feel out of an alignment to do a 4-week one-on-one cooking course. So I just built both of those 2 products up over the 2 years. I talked about it a lot. I talked about my goals and moving to Palma and spending my years between Australia, New Zealand, and Palma.
Yeah.
And I started to really brand myself. I started to learn social media. I started to learn marketing. I swapped nights of going out with my crew to learning the tools I needed to create a website, to create a sales funnel, all that sort of thing. I just got dedicated and I just buckled in.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So it feels really, really powerful. And it feels like although you gave a lot of your time and your commitment and your dedication, it feels that you opened up space to receive from all of that. That's beautiful. So if we address the women who are hearing us today, what do you think is the number one thing that holds women back from really living their life, enjoying their career, enjoying their job, and still having that connection with themselves, with their family? What do you think is the number one thing that's holding them back from having it all in their lives?
The fear of other people's opinions is a massive one. And the limiting belief that they just don't have time.
Okay.
Because I feel like many driven women like ourselves, and sometimes I still catch myself, I'm like, I don't have time for personal development today. I don't have time for journaling. And I'm like, Sheree, it's the most important thing, is having time for yourself. Yeah. There's always time. So those are the two main things I see holding women back, is the belief that there's no time and not prioritizing themselves. Even if I know we're all busy, everyone is busy, right?
Yeah.
But there's always 10 minutes in a day to journal. There's always 10 minutes to connect to yourself and get clear on what you want. There's always 10 minutes to journal.
Yes.
And it's just making you a priority.
Yeah. I think, we get to carve out that time just to really honor what we, our beingness, our sense of being, our soul, our heart, and connect back in. Because when you cultivate that connection and you make it a priority, even if it's 10 minutes a day, like you say, that fills your cup. It really fills your cup. It regulates your nervous system. It sets the day. If you're doing it in the morning, like, it sets the tone for the day. If you're doing it in the evening, you're able to reflect back on your day and really clear out stuff that maybe you're judging yourself about, or maybe you're hanging on to something that there's no real need to hang on to it. And then by not letting go, or by not even witnessing what is within you, we just carry that stuff along with us to the next day, to the next day, to the next day, until one day you're burnt out, right? You're burnt out because you're not checking in. So and also about the people, what people say, how was that affecting you in your life?
Oh, well, 7 years ago, when I first got into the network marketing space, as a yacht chef, that was deemed back then a random thing for me to do. There were a lot of opinions about me moving into the online space, about me, doing something else that wasn't yachting, that wasn't chefing. There were a lot of opinions. And at first it definitely stalled me. And then the more personal development I started to do, I listened to a lot of Tony Robbins, and especially at the beginning of my journey, I did. And I listened to a lot of other self-empowerment videos and podcasts, and went to trainings. And within time, my belief built up.
Yes.
And the more my belief built up, other people's opinions went down.
Yep.
And it's slowly, sometimes it takes time, right? All this stuff takes time. There's no magic switch.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, my belief in myself is here, and other people's opinions are even under the floor.
Yeah. You don't even a thing anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like building a muscle and going to the gym. You've got to work on it daily.
Yeah.
But when you start building that belief in yourself and surrounding yourself with the people that believe in you, trust me, there's a lot of the naysayers at the beginning that come to me now and have apologized for not being supportive, because some people just don't understand, right? They haven't been given the chance to do whatever they want to do. They believe they're doing what they're doing because that's it's their purpose.
Yep, they have to.
So it's no one's fault. It's just people don't know what they don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. And also they're doing the best with the resources they have. They really are. Yeah. Okay. So what would you say could people do You already mentioned journaling, but what would you say could people do right now, like today, tomorrow, and implement in their day so that they, if they are in burnout, first of all, how would they notice that they're in burnout? Because we have also this thing with that's denial, right? And that we have to just keep going, whether it's because we have a family to feed, or whether it's because we made a promise, or whether it's because we have to stay committed, but at what cost, right? At what cost?
Exactly.
So how can the women that are watching this notice if they are in burnout? Like, what are the stages, or what are the characteristics that you noticed in your life?
Yep.
And how can they begin to overcome that?
Yeah. So as I said before, like the things that I noticed for me when I was getting into burnout, when I became really mindful that I was in burnout, was fatigue. You know, I was constantly tired.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can always have reasons for being tired, but for me, it was feeling tired. And I even say like uninspired. I wasn't passionate about anything anymore.
Yeah.
I was finding it really hard to find my spark back. I was in a bit of a negative mindset. I was feeling trapped in my career, overwhelmed because I never felt like I had enough time to do the things that I needed to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, as I said, like probably feeling a bit like angry, a bit in the negative headspace, angry, frustrated, those.
So when you were feeling angry and frustrated, like, was your anger and frustration coming? Did you know that the anger and frustration was coming from your unmet needs, your how can I put it? Like, you're not living through your desires, or was it just like random anger and frustration, and you just couldn't see it then?
Couldn't really place it. It's reflecting now, back now. So I knew tired and uninspired. I knew that was because I was burnt out from cooking for 18 years and not really having proper breaks and not having time for me. I knew I was uninspired because of that.
Yeah.
And feeling trapped in my career, but only reflecting upon like the last few years, reflecting back on, you know, 7 years ago, would I pinpoint like anger and frustration to actual burnout?
Yes. Okay, so interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like if I like reflect on my own life, before I was on this path and at the early stages of being a mom, you know, I was burnt out. I had the burnout, and it was because I was trying to do everything by myself, and I had a certain expectation of what type of mother I wanted to be. And there was the anger, there was the frustration, you know, and all these triggers. But like when you're in it, you don't really understand where all this is coming from. But the thing is, I think when you have it might help if somebody is outside and can help you like see certain things that you're not seeing because you're just in the thick of it. So having a coach or a mentor can help. But always, like, your emotions are guiding you to something that's going on under the surface. So the emotions are like your first thing, but we actually think that our emotions are the thing, but they're not. They're not, right? Our emotions are giving us a signal that something is not in alignment with your life. So this anger, this frustration, the tiredness, that's not an emotion, but it leads to emotions. Something is not in alignment, and you know, it's up to each person to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what's going on. You know, where's this anger coming from? Why am I angry at my child? Why am I angry at my husband? What is this? So it's really, really interesting how you had that courage, you got that piece of courage to actually start taking action towards what felt more aligned for you, and really, really claiming and building that life that you feel is more aligned for you, instead of just saying, well, this is the card I've been dealt, right? It's the card I've been dealt and there's nothing I can do about it. But there There's always something you can do.
100%. You can always make a change. Always.
There's always something you can do, and you can absolutely have it all when you get onto this path, right? So we've spoken about the turning point that led you to look into other options of income aside from chefing. It was your grandmother, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The passing of your grandmother. Can you just touch on what do you believe are the 3 keys for success in the online space? Because you're now doing this online space thing, online coaching, and you're helping other driven women to do the same.
Yeah.
So what do you think are the 3 keys for success?
Oh, definitely. I've got a few, but definitely the 3 would be to be creating a personal brand. Creating a strong personal brand, because the mistake I made at the beginning is I was a product. People just thought I was the woman that sold shakes.
Right.
So when I added different products to my umbrella, it wasn't a smooth transition. When you have your own personal brand and your personal brand is 100% you can add other products under it. So I'm Sheree Ann Murray. I have my podcast, my coaching, my health and wellness programs, my affiliate deals. It's all under one umbrella, but I'm me first and foremost. And your personal brand is recession proof because you can put anything under it.
Yep.
Once people know, like, and trust you.
Yes.
Yeah. The second, which is probably the most important point, is to have a coach, because that was the turning point of my success. Was as soon as I made the decision to create my own product when I wasn't affiliating, or as well as affiliating, I got a coach because I didn't know how to set up my own online program. So I got a coach that taught me all the steps. So find someone that has the success you want and hire them and do exactly what they tell you. Then create your personal brand and get some automation into your business so you can actually have time freedom, because sometimes you can swap one hustle for another, and hand on heart, I've done it. I swapped working on yachts to hustling as a health and wellness coach. Like, yes, I was finally on land. I had time with my friends, but I had no automation in my business, no systems in place that I was doing every piece of sale, every sales call in my business, every piece of paperwork. And that takes time in the back end, let alone what you do in the forefront. So create systems in place that give you true time freedom, because that's what I was after. And I feel like a lot of people watching this are probably after more time freedom too. Create the automation.
Yeah. That's very, very sound advice. Yep. Okay.
It saved me that I wish I knew at the beginning. But it all worked out perfectly.
Exactly. Well, if you didn't have that experience, you probably wouldn't be here right now. You probably would be somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I agree on all 3 points. It's lovely being able to be in a position to have a coach, to have a mentor to support you, and to be coachable. So be coachable, right?
Yes, that's massive.
Yeah, be willing to learn, be willing to grow, be willing to take, the advice, be willing to take also the what do you call it? I won't say the critic, but having a coach will help you see your blind spots. So for me, it's also been a game changer in my business. I had my first mentor, we're in 2021 now, is it 3 years ago?
Yeah.
4 years ago? Yep. And from that point on, things changed dramatically for me, because we don't know everything. And if we claim to know everything, then you actually don't move forward.
No, exactly. We're
Right?
always learning.
Yes. Never leaving the classroom. That's what I call it.
Oh, yes. I love that.
Yeah. You also have a free gift that you're going to share with our audience, and I will post all your details in the comments of our post here in the group, and where they can reach you. Can you talk about a bit about your free gift, what you're giving to the group?
Yeah, of course. So I'm going to be honest. Do I have permission to change the gift up a little bit?
Yeah, if you feel it's aligned, if you feel it's, yeah.
I feel like this might be a little bit more aligned. And it's something I know we discussed the free gift a little. I'm happy to offer both, but it just kind of came to me just now, and I was like, shivers, this actually feels way more aligned.
Okay. Talk about the one that feels aligned, and you can send me that.
So, because we've been talking about the 3 steps to, success online and a lot of mindset. I've been working with a few leaders that I personally work with online, and we've created a masterclass. And the first day is all about releasing limiting beliefs especially around money.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is massive. And I've had my own money blocks. I'm sure we all have. So we'll be diving really deep into releasing limiting beliefs around money. We'll be giving some really cool practices that you can do that day and daily to change your money mindset. And then on day 2, it's just 2 days. It's 40 minutes each. It's short, sharp, to the point, because I prefer that sort of thing. I prefer, I appreciate transparency and to the point. Thanks. And the second day, we'll be diving into the 3 pillars where I do talk about automation. I talk about high ticket products and especially personal branding.
Okay.
That's of value to anyone. I would love to have them jump in and also offer the other free gift, of course.
Okay. Well, I think we can drop both of them.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable.
No, I'm all about giving. Okay. There's no,
Okay. So can you share them? That sounds perfect, Sheree. Can you share also about your other free gift? The 30-minute webinar on how to create a high profit, high impact business online.
Yes. Yeah. So this one is great, short, sharp, and to the point as well. I personally didn't host this webinar. That's why I felt a little bit aligned to, share something that I've actually am personally involved with. This is one done by my mentors. Similar to the 2-day event we're going to be running, where they talk about the importance of personal brand, automation, high ticket products. They talk about the importance of community and the community that I'm aligned with. And the reason I shared it as the gift back then is because these guys are the reason I transitioned from low ticket items. As I said, I work in the health and wellness. I used to do health and wellness supplements, and they're the reason I transitioned into the high ticket. Because they have been incredible mentors to me, and I've just learned so much from them that I just thought it might be a really nice, we learn so much from so many different people.
Yeah, we do. Okay, great. Right, so I will drop both of them in. That I feel
perfect.
That's abundance, right? It feels abundant.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So can you share, just like before we close, can you share with me one of your biggest challenges in your life and how that challenge has actually shaped you to be the person you are today? So
a challenge now, or like from
whatever is coming up for you?
Yeah. I think realizing that there is no perfect balance. I'm that's the first thing that kind of came up, and that is a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's probably come from chefing up until even today. Sometimes I feel like I have to be working all the time. Yes. And then I just get back to know, Sheree, it's so important to fill your own cup and to have your time and connect. So just realizing that and letting go of control, that there probably never will be a perfect balance, but just do the best you can.
Yes.
So, but I always find a seesaw with the balance.
I love that because I was actually one of my my coach that I trained with, life coaching, I don't know, 10 years ago. He shared it perfectly with me back then, and with the whole group, and he shared how we have actually been sort of tricked into the thought of finding balance between work, life, home, right? Because when you think about that, I need to have a work-life balance. When you in pursuit of a work-life balance, you're presupposing that you don't have that, first of all. And then you're feeding energy into the not having that balance that you're after, right? So you're feeding that field. And secondly, that if you look in nature, and if you look at your heart, even if you put yourself on a heart monitor, and the lines that come up on the heart monitor, it indicates that you're alive, right? When that line flatlines and there's that balance, that flat, just the flat line, you're no longer alive. Okay, so we require this beating of up and down, the heartbeat. The heartbeat is not, it has coherence, but it doesn't show that it has to be like a flat line of balance, because then there's no life force in there. Okay,
Exactly.
Life needs to have force. Life needs to have a push and a pull, and then you have this dance between the two. It's the feminine and the masculine, right?
Yes.
So even in nature is never balanced. Nature's always got cycles. It's always going through something. Even a plant, if you take the little seed and you put a camera on that seed and you watch it, how it's growing, it's never flatlined. It's never like still. We've imagined this balance to be like this stillness and this calm. Yes, you can get that. You can actually create that within you. You don't need to have that on the outside as a physical experience in your reality. You get to create that on the inside, right? So if you look at nature, if nature were balanced in the way that we think we have to be balanced, there wouldn't be cycles. There wouldn't be seasons. We wouldn't have these beautiful cycles and patterns in nature.
Exactly.
So we've actually been duped into believing that there is a work-life balance that we have to strive for. And it's in that striving that we actually create even more imbalance in our lives. So,
I love that explanation.
Yeah.
I've never had it explained like that, but that is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So stop chasing the life-work balance, and just, the harmony and the coherence comes from inside your heart, and how you get to respond with your environment and to your environment.
Exactly.
And
I love that.
choosing the things that are in alignment with what feels in harmony in your heart, and saying no. Isn't that a huge thing for
I love saying no. I've learned to embrace that a bit more.
Yeah, saying no. I mean, putting up those boundaries and just saying no to things that don't feel aligned. I mean, as a woman and as a mom, women in general, we're such givers, and we want to give, we want to nurture, we want to nourish. And when people ask us for something, we want to say yes, and we want to give all the time. But if you're giving all the time and you're not giving to yourself, you're just giving outwards, you're giving from an empty cup. And that's what you experienced actually with your burnout.
Yeah.
You're giving. And then it's like there's no more to give. And that's where the burnout comes. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, such a beautiful conversation. I feel like we could talk for hours.
I know, me too.
Is there anything else you'd like to share? Is there anything else that you'd like to touch on? Just like last words of wisdom.
Maybe some nice practices that people could implement to give back to themselves and to refill their cup. Like, as I said, journal what your dream day looks like, journal your goals, like journal how you want to feel every day, journal how you want to wake up feeling.
Yeah.
The second one is exercise. Exercise is massive for me, and it's a daily part of my life. And if I don't do that, I can definitely feel like, oh, I haven't given to myself today.
Yeah. What's your preferred exercise? Or do you?
Right now, it's just simply walking. I love walking around the city here. It used to be high intensity, but I'm really feeling into the last year, after I did a bit of a crazy fitness challenge, I'm really feeling into just like strolling. I just love strolling around the city, listening to music before I start my day.
Yeah.
And the third one's meditation. I'm not a long meditating person, but I love listening to like short guided meditations. I love listening to different frequencies of music. I do like 10 minutes a day in the morning before I start getting online and start giving to other people. Those are the 3 main things I do. You don't have to do all 3 at once. Maybe do one for a week or 2, then add the second one in, and then add the third one in, or whatever feels right for you, you know. But those 3 practices for me have been a game changer.
Yeah, I agree. I do the same thing. I love them. I love, especially the meditation. It just, it opens up so much. It really, really calms. And it also gives you the opportunity to travel, you know, to imagine and to access those realms that you don't really tap into when you're in this 3D realm. So thanks for sharing that.
Oh, no, my absolute pleasure.
If people wanted to get hold of you, where would they be able to find you?
Either on Instagram or on Facebook. My page is Sheree Ann is absolutely perfect.
Okay. We'll drop all the details in at the bottom of this post, of this live. And, you know, if anybody wants to reach out to Sheree, you've heard her, you've felt her, you've listened to her story. She's more than happy to offer some support if anybody's looking for that. We will drop all her contact details in there, and also the free gifts that she's offering. You just need to send me the link for the masterclass.
Yes, I'll do that now.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for being here and for spending time with us. I really, really appreciate you, and I wish you all the success with your business and your coaching and your clients. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me on. It's been so beautiful to connect in the lead up to this as well.
Thank you so much, Sheree. We'll keep in touch. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Right. Okay. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.